I just continued to do that for around 2 years, and I ended up saving over $30,000. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today is gonna be a little bit of a different video than what I usually do. Usually do like vlog style videos, but I've been seeing comments here and there about how I'm able to save up for the car that I got. For me to have saved up for this car, I've been working for a couple of years already. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of tips on how I saved up for my car and how I'm able to make payments for it pretty comfortably using my own income and without my parents' help. So before we start, this is not financial advice. I am in no way certified to give you financial advice on how to manage your finances, but these are just helpful tips that I thought that really kind of set me in position to kind of be successful in saving up for things that I want. I'm gonna kind of just break this down into 2 parts. I guess to kind of start off, I do need to go over kind of like my backstory and my background, how I kind of really got into managing my own finances and being more financially aware of what I have in my bank account. This all kind of started when I was in undergrad. I remember looking at my Bank of America app and I saw I had like $30 in my bank account. And at that time, I was already working 2 jobs and I had no money. I don't know where the money was going. So I wasn't spending responsibly. And that's when I came across YouTube channels like Graham Stephen and Andre G, who have been tremendous in helping me on my kind of financial journey to kind of at least just be more financially aware and literate on how to manage my money, at least the income that's coming in. That's kind of like the background of how I kind of really got into this. So I have 5 main tips that I think were probably the most significant in contributing to getting the car as low as possible, setting up myself for success, and being able to save as much as possible and working towards that. Number 1 is what I initially did was I kind of just tracked everything that I spent. So when I first realized that I had $30 in my bank account, something had to change. I downloaded an app called Money Manager. I still have that app. I still use it. Let me show you here. So this is Money Manager. This is what I use every month to kind of keep track of all my finances and stuff. It doesn't have, I don't log all my money that's in here, but I log all my expenses that are in here. I actually even ended up getting the premium version of it because I like this so much. But basically that app is really good, especially if you have an Android. I don't think they have it for iOS, but I'm sure they have other alternatives for iOS to help keep track of finances. But I personally like this because I know there are apps out there that kind of automatically kind of track what you spend, but I specifically like kind of entering my own things. That way I feel like I'm more aware of what I'm spending, and it kind of just, you know, keeps you in check in a way, because you're always seeing money coming in and then what is going out every time you're entering in. Like every time I get food or I get gas, the moment I swipe that card, I'm entering the number in already. Sometimes to a point where it's like just automatic and I don't even think about it. Another reason why I really like this app was because, look at this. It has a function here that says export data to Excel. So I think that's very important because that allows you to kind of, I mean, even if you don't want to do that, you can just look at it on the phone. It has all the data there. And I think it's very important at the end of the month to kind of just reflect back on all the things that you spend. Whether it's, usually I would say the miscellaneous things are the most important things to reflect on. Just like the little things that you don't think that will add up. Things like a $5 cup of coffee. Stuff like that. In terms of like lifestyle, things like going out to eat, fun activities, those things could usually add up, and those are the things that you can mostly just your behavior to kind of lower the expenses for. So I think it's very important to be kind of keeping track of what you're spending each month and then just reflect back on it. Tip number 2 is gonna be always pay yourself first. A lot of people just kind of live paycheck to paycheck, and for a long time I was doing that. I was just constantly waiting for the next paycheck before I did anything, and I think that's the wrong way to live. I think number 1 rule is always to pay yourself first. And the time that while I was saving up for the car, I was saving pretty aggressively, and I don't recommend. Okay, I recommend doing this, but not to spend it all on the car. But you know, you can allocate a percentage of what you make to that car fund. And what I did was I did extreme. Every paycheck I got, I just put 50% of it away. I just continued to do that for around 2 years, and I ended up saving over $30,000. I highly recommend doing this. I don't recommend doing it as extreme as I did, because it's, you know, you have to be reasonable. For me, my overhang cost is pretty low. I don't really have to pay for rent at the moment, and the only things I really have to worry about is my car payment and insurance. So if you think about it, I don't actually have that many expenses, so I was able to kind of use that as leverage to kind of get what I want. For starters, I would recommend maybe setting aside 10% into savings, or and then maybe 10% into a down payment for a car. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but I guarantee you, eventually you're gonna get there, and you're gonna get there a lot quicker than you think. And it's good to form habits. I think the most important thing is to continuously do it. And when it becomes more of a habit, it becomes, you know, more instinctual. You stop thinking about it. You just think, oh, okay, we just have to do this. And that's what happened to me. I mean, I was for the longest time, I was putting away 50% of my paycheck all the time. Every single paycheck. 50%. Trust me, it's a very good chunk, and you have to live really below your means. Always pay yourself first. That's gonna be one of the biggest tips when it comes to saving money. Number 3, and I kind of touched upon it just now, but remember, when you're buying the car, you're not just buying the car. Car's a liability. You do need insurance for it. So make sure that you're factoring into account how much the insurance is. For my car, because given the demographic that I am, and given that my car is considered a sports car in the insurance world, I pay about $200 something a month for insurance, which is quite hefty. So make sure you take that into factor before you buy the car. If you can afford both the insurance and the car payments, make sure you do not buy the car unless you're willing to outright pay cash. And I don't recommend that, which brings me to my next point, number 4, let your money work for you. Right now, the interest rates are super high. So as of June 2023, interest rates are sky high. There's a lot of savings account right now that currently offer very high yield interest rates, such as I know Goldman Sachs has one that's pretty high. Capital One has one that's pretty high. There's a bunch out there. All you need to do is just do a quick Google search and you'll see it. But they're paying anywhere between 4 to 5% interest rate just by having your money in the savings account. So I highly recommend it, and I think even some of these banks are giving like bonuses when you put in an X amount of money. You want your money to kind of work for you while you sleep. You know, 2%, 3% of $1,000 is not that much, but 2 to 3% of, let's say, $1 million, now we're talking bigger numbers. That's a lot. But that's how compound interest works, right? Like, as you invest more money into that high yield savings account, you end up yielding back more money because you have a larger pool of money in that account now. So that 4% is now worth a lot more in the future. Highly recommend that, even if it's just for a down payment for a car. I would highly recommend it, just because, you know, you don't want your money just sitting cash at home. Either high yield savings account or index funds and ETFs to help kind of grow your money. That way it speeds up the process a little quicker. The last one's going to be number 5, and that is do not pay above MSRP. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I will not pay above MSRP for a car. There are, I know in the midst of COVID, a lot of people end up doing it. When I went to buy for my car, I shopped around everywhere. I went all around OC, all around LA. You don't even have to drive. Just give them a call. Just send them a message, send them an email. Make sure they do not do markups. In the end, you're getting the same car. If they have a $2,000-$3,000 markup, let's say you're in East Coast, book a flight to LA, a couple $100s, and go to the dealership that I go to. I went to Longo Toyota in El Monte. They never do markups. I know for a fact that there are dealerships out there that also don't ever do markups. So make sure you're looking out for them. It's not impossible. I mean, you will have to wait. I'm not gonna say that I got my car immediately. I waited about 4 or 5 months for my car, but I think it's worth the wait because you're saving a lot of money. At one point, I got quoted at a dealership for, I would say, I think it was $7,000 above MSRP. $7,000. That's a down payment on another car. There's no way. Yeah, so I ended up just walking away because, you know, I will not pay above MSRP. It just does not make any sense for that. Be willing to drive out a little further to get the car. Either drive further or maybe even consider booking a plane ticket to get the car because I think it's worth it. Even like saving $2,000 or $3,000, maybe $1,000, maybe might not be worth it, but like $2 or $3 grand, I guarantee you'll get a really good story out of it because you flew across the country to get a car, and you know you'll have a nice time doing it. At the same time, you'll be saving a little bit of money. So I think it's probably the best thing to do. Do not let these dealerships ruin you. Do not pay for markups. Don't buy into the BS that they don't have any cars and they have to do markups. I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's all BS. They have cars. Just be patient. Look for the right dealership. Ask around, and I guarantee you'll find a better deal. To sum up this week's video, 5 tips are: track your spending, very important. Pay yourself first. Take into the insurance that it's gonna cost to insure your car. Number 4, let your money work for you. Number 5, do not pay above MSRP. And I think I'm very passionate about this because it's been kind of a big journey for me in terms of my journey with finance and how that kind of shaped me into the person that I am today, and how I'm able to kind of create this content, because without the car I would not be able to create the content that I do for this channel. I'm very grateful to be able to learn all the things that I did within the past couple of years throughout undergrad, and now I'm in pharmacy school, to kind of how to leverage certain things that I have and put myself in the best position possible in terms of financially. That's kind of how I saved over $35,000 in 2 or 3 years, which is I would say pretty crazy. Say hi to YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Mr. He just got groomed. He's so lazy. He doesn't want to do anything. Thank you guys for watching this week's video. I will see you guys in the next one. And remember, there's enough bad things in the world.
This time